In today's video, I'm going to teach you the top 5 best weapons in Apex Legends Mobile. And I'm not gonna lie, all these weapons I'm gonna list here today, you gotta use. Because these weapons are key weapons you're gonna use to win games, win against fights, and win against any opponent you go against, even if the top players in the world. So let's jump right into this top 5. At our number 5 spot, we actually have the Devotion and Havoc. Now, both of these are energy weapons, and these weapons are honestly a menace if you get yourself the turbocharger, because when you don't have the turbocharger on it, it will actually shoot the weapon, but before that shoot, you actually have to charge up for a second. But once you start beaming, you're pretty much gonna knock anyone who's in the line of fire. That is the best thing about these weapons. Now, the good thing about them too is you get yourself the turbocharger. On top of that, they will shoot instantaneously with a slight bit more recoil, but if you get the aim sight down, you are honestly gonna fry the whole lobby and of course be killer the whole entire time. And I can say for a fact that this weapon off the break is actually still really good as long as you practice with them and pick them up consistently, because if you do not practice with these weapons, you will not adapt to the recoil they have, and that way you'll lose your fights. But if you do practice with it, you'll be on a whole nother level right out of the gate. At number 4 spot, we actually have the Wingman. Now, the Wingman is not as good as it was on the PC and console, but if you play on Apex Mobile and practice with it, this thing is a shotgun sniper. So what I mean by that is a shotgun sniper, it's a pistol. So literally, you can get it 2 to 1 times on this hollow, or just the 2 times, start beating people from afar if you practice with the recoil, of course, get the aim on it, and of course, you'll be scoring damage around 30 at low to being at 90 at high if you get by the headshots. The headshots are where it's at with this gun. Even on PC and mobile, well, not PC and mobile, PC and console, that if you get this and you practice with a lot of pros use this just because the consistency and damage can range from like 50 to 90 on actually body shots to headshots. So you might want to practice with this gun. If you do not practice with the gun already, I would just recommend when you see a Wingman on the ground, right, like practice with it a little bit. That way you get adapted to it. That way when you need to use it in a real situation, in a real good fight, you're frying. At number 3 spot, we have 3 different shotguns. Now, these shotguns are, of course, the PK, Mastiff, and also the Mozambique. Yeah, that's right, the Mozambique. So the PK is a shotgun that you can aim down sight with, and it'll charge over time the more you zoomed in with it, and you can hit shots damaging around 110 to 9. So that's the only problem with this gun when you're aiming down sight, is that sometimes the inconsistency in damage could lose you the fight if you hit a 9 if you were supposed to hit them for 110. But if you do hit them for 110 and you practice with it, you can hit consistent 50 to 100 and knock opponents left and right. That's why a lot of the pros and the AGLs actually use this on PC and console. It's just honestly an insane weapon if you get good with it and the hip fire. Now, the Mastiff, on the other hand, is a much more consistent weapon when it comes to damage. Now, it doesn't have the ability to aim down sight and actually charge over time, but if you do aim down sight every time you shoot it, you're of course going to range damage from 11 to 100 each time. Because if you hip fire with it, the spread's kind of wide, so you don't want to hip fire with it usually. If you do, you want to make sure to keep the sight on the actual opponent when you shoot it, or predict where they're going to go a bit next. That way you can hit them and bop them and knock them down. Now, this damage is really good because it's better than hitting a 9 on a PK. I gotta say, Mastiff, it is either a hit or miss for the player. Some people prefer the PK, some people prefer the Mastiff, and I'm not gonna say I prefer the Mastiff. It's broken. Now for the Mozambique. Now you might be wondering, why did I put the Mozambique on the number 3 spot on a mobile game? Well, because it's really strong. If you guys do not know, it's the same rule applied to the Mastiff when you aim down sight with the Mozambique. If you aim down sight with the Mozambique, you can hit damage from 30 to 50 consistently. I mean consistently. Like, that's the actual damage output. It's in between those two. So if you keep aiming down sight and bopping them left and right, you are gonna knock someone within 4 to 5 shots easy compared to Mastiff, where sometimes you can hit them down in 3 shots, but sometimes it might take 7 to 6 shots if you don't get the damage off right. But if you practice with the gun either way, honestly, you're gonna be a threat no matter what shotgun you use from this category. They're just all insane. At number 2 spot is the R99. Now, you might not be surprised because this gun actually fries people. You can bust people with their armor, you can one-clip people if you have a purple or blue mag, and this gun is just honestly insane. So you gotta practice with the hipfire with this gun first of all, because if you practice with your hipfire, you'll fry people. Unfortunately, the car is not actually an Apex Mobile, because the car on PC and console is the same as the R99, but has the flexibility between changing between light and heavy ammo. But the R99 just uses light, but both of them are honestly insane. But the good thing about the R99 is actually in the game. So if you practice the hip fire in it or aim down sight with it, you're going to easily fry the whole lobby with it. And I would actually use that more the times than I actually use the R99 when I'm in a fight at times. I would also say that I would put the Volt on the number 2 spot. The problem with that is that the Volt is in the care package, so you don't have access to it consistently every game you play. But I will say this, if you do find the Volt in the care package, I would recommend you switch your R99 for the Volt. Now, the reason why for that is that it's got slightly bit more recoil, which is a bad thing, but it does more damage and also has an extra bullet in the magazine. So you can take full advantage of that when fights with it. So just practice with it, grab the Volt, switch with the R9, and just fry the lobbies. At our number 1 spot, we have 2 different weapons for you guys, which you can choose from, the Flatline and also R301. Now, of course, the R301 is much better to newer players because the R301 has slight bit of recoil, but it beams. It does some massive damage. You can beam with the R99 as you do with the R301, and you can fry lobbies with it. I actually run both R99 and also R301 because I get both guns in the range, because I get the short range combo with the R9, and I also get the beauty of the mid-range to long range weapon with the R3. So that combo is called the R400, which a lot of people are using right now because you can carry so much ammo, up to 900 rounds in Apex Mobile. It's insane. Anyways though, then we got ourselves the Flatline. The Flatline is a slightly more recoily version of the R301, but it has slightly more damage, and it's also going to knock people way faster just because of that reason. Because if you practice with this gun, you can honestly fry the whole lobby. Now, you can either run the R301 or Flatline depending on your use case, or depending on which one you find first. And honestly, I would recommend, if you see a Flatline and you don't have an R301 yet, pick up the Flatline, practice with it. That way, when you use a future reference, you can fry lobbies with either one. And that is, of course, my top 5 list for Apex Mobile. If you didn't agree with this list or didn't think I missed out on a gun that has potential, let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested in the find out. If you guys enjoyed my video and want to see that video in the future here, then make sure to get subscribed and hit that like button. Very much appreciated. Until then, I'll see you guys in my video, and don't forget to check us on Twitch. We do stream there, of course, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They'll be linked down below to our Twitch channel. Until then, G-Men out.